Hi everybody, it's Kim from Expressions of the Universe with your weekly wisdom for December 30th through January 6th. It's time for us to say goodbye to 2018 and hello 2019. So let's take a big deep breath and exhale. Bye mofo 2018, see ya later. Over and done with. And that's the attitude that we need to have. We need to put that 2018 to bed. We need to put it to rest. Say goodbye. Don't look back. I know that a lot of people have had much of a roller coaster of 2018. I've heard about so many losses this year, almost as many as 2012. But what I found was really profound. I was thinking about this coming home from a dinner party last night. All the people talking about all of their animals that they lost this year. And you know, if you've been following me, I lost my beloved Sugar this year, which I don't think I will ever be over, but I can't dwell in that place. But so many people lost their animals this year. I know a lot of you viewers have written to me, especially when I lost Sugar, telling me about the losses of your pets this year. So that's been crazy. It's been profound, because then I was thinking last night driving home, like, what is that? You know, what is the significance of so many of us losing loved ones and our familiars and our animals? There's got to be some sort of, profound meaning towards that. But it made me think of how those losses are also a gift. Even the losses of people and loved ones that we know. The gift is, not only you get to think about the time that you spent with them, but also to think about how precious and short life is, and it kind of puts our own lives into perspective. And that is the gift that we're given, that maybe that we will live our best life because we realize just how short life is. That was 2018. I know that the last, 6 or 7 years, life has been this huge roller coaster. Time is speeding up, things are quickening, things are happening so fast that we don't even have time to fully comprehend everything that's going on around us, or to fully absorb, the loss and the pain, because there's something right behind it coming. I feel that we're breaking out of that energy. There's new beginnings coming. The numbers of 2019 equal a 3. 3 is the divine. 3 is a magic number. 3 is the coming together and a oneness. Because if you look at number 1, that is me, or I. And when you look at 2, it is we. But then 3 is us. And that will be the theme for this year. I did pull cards. Now I talked about the frog, detoxing, getting rid of clutter, detoxing our bodies, mind, and spirit. If you didn't read my blog on the frog, that ties a lot into 2019 energy, and I will show you this. So not only did I post on Facebook and Instagram about the frog, but I wrote an extensive blog about what this means to me coming up for 2019. Now, the card that I had pulled several months ago for the Jupiter transit, because Jupiter, it's our luck, it's our fortune, it's that light that shines down on us, with it being in Sagittarius, that of the Centaur, the adventurer. It's that fire sign. Our creative fires are becoming ignited. And the grasshopper was a great symbol for January, because the grasshopper, it says on here, take a leap of faith. In a previous video, I mentioned how the grasshopper cannot ever move backwards. It can only hop forward. But this is also talking about taking that risk, jumping into new arenas and new areas that you maybe, were fearful of going in a new direction or moving forward. This is about moving forward, starting anew. That's what 2019 is about. And it's taking those risks, getting outside, getting to meet new people. I know a lot of light workers, light walkers, when they're feeling that dense and heavy, chaotic energy around them, and this goes for empaths as well, the first response, the first instinct is to distance yourself from people, disconnect, cut off, and 2019 is really asking us to engage more, that we need to try and find that oneness. We need to try to see the love and the beauty in each and every person out there. When you are seeing something that you don't like, try to envision the love that that person has, because we all have that within us. Some people express things differently. We're all doing the best that we can. Everybody's on a different level. So you can't really compare, Susie Jones to yourself, because you don't know where that person is. You don't know what level they're on. Just try to see the love and the beauty and the exertion of energy that they're putting forth. Maybe, you don't know what lessons they're working through. Every person comes into our lives to teach us something, and vice versa. So try to, step back from chaotic situations and chaotic people and see the purpose that they're serving in your life, or why that they may be there. And then the last card that I have for this coming up, this is my own card. This is part of my new beginning. You may think that the artwork is childish, and it probably is. I just doodled this really quick. But each week I'm going to channel and draw my own little card. And this is what I have provided for you for the new year, and it's new beginnings. And it's symbolized not by a 4-leaf clover, but a 3-leaf clover, because 2019 is a 3-year. And, some people who are very religious, they say Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I always say I, we, us. It's the divine, it's beauty, it's social, it's creative energy, it's the Trinity, it's the triad. The triad being heaven, earth, and waters. And, that triangle, which is the strongest structure in engineering, you've got heaven, earth, and the waters, or maybe it is heaven, earth, and the waters, because earth being grounded. That also leads me to, we need to definitely find a solid place of grounding this year. Get our feet and our root chakras firmly planted in the ground. If you have too much overstimulation going on, I definitely recommend getting out in nature. That will definitely be a theme that can dispel negative energy, negative ions in a split second. When the weather is cooperative, you can take your socks and your shoes off and stand on the grass, stand in the earth. That will definitely immediately dispel any kind of negative energy and overstimulation. It is called earthing, so I've written about it. You can also Google earthing and how beneficial it is. Also, if you have pains and ailments, earthing is amazing. I've done a lot of experiments. I've even written about that, how I got an earthing mat and I sleep on that. And it keeps me in a constant state of groundedness, even when I'm laying in my bed or sitting here. And I don't have it hooked up right now because I'm on my device. and that actually creates an electrical charge that would be electrocuting me. So you have to be careful. You can't hold your device when you're doing a grounding mat or a grounding rod, which is really interesting because that's another one of my things. As much as I'm on social media, and it is such a vital part of my business, I think a lot of us need to disconnect more from our devices, from social media. We need to find a stillness every single day, even if you're only allowing yourself to be still for a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It is vital. When you get into that quietness and that stillness or a type of meditation, ideas will come to you. You are clearing the chaos in your mind. Therefore, you're becoming more abundant. And it's essential, even if that stillness is maybe putting headphones on for a few minutes a day, when the chaos is building, just to kind of clear that energy. Classical music is great. Subtle meditation music is great. There's tons, there's thousands, millions of different options on YouTube that you can just tap into for a few minutes a day. Set a timer on your phone for a daily meditation or a daily moment of stillness you could do several times a day. I know for me, when I feel the chaos building, I immediately go outside for a walk. To me, I love active meditation where I'm just walking and I'm observing the trees. I'm looking for birds that are flying around or listening to forest sounds. Depends on where you are, but I work in the city and I can still find those quiet places in nature that I can get away to for 10 or 15 minutes, and it's like a reset and a reboot of everything, body, mind, and spirit. It allows me to breathe more deeply, and then I can go back in with a freshness about myself. And this is something that I really want to try and practice more of, setting set times of stillness for myself. Now let's see, I did take a lot of notes. I was doing some channeling this morning, and my guides were talking about all of these things. Now, grace and gratitude definitely come up. And what I wanted to point out with that is, so we have a lot of people living in fear all the time. Fear and pain and loneliness. There will be two subsects of people. There will be those people that stay in that. There will be people that rise above. And then you have your people that are in this love consciousness, this oneness consciousness. But what I wanted to say is, I talk about gratitude a lot and finding the gratitude every single day. But I also want to point out a lot of spiritual teachers, they try and say to us that we have to be in that state of mind 24/7. And honestly, my guides were telling me that it's impossible to be in a state of grace, in a state of calmness, in a state of stillness, and in a state of gratitude 24/7. It's impossible. Maybe the Dalai Lama can do it. A few Zen masters can do it. But this is the real world. This is Earth. It's a very difficult lesson. But what my guides told me today was, when you find yourself in fear, when you find yourself in chaos, when you find yourself in overstimulation, if you can stop, drop, and roll, or stop and just step outside of yourself for a second and see, okay, this is what's going on. You acknowledge that you are overstimulated. You acknowledge that there's chaos going on. You acknowledge that you are in fear mode. You acknowledge that you're in pain mode, whether that be physical pain or pain in the heart. You acknowledge you're lonely or you acknowledge that you may be lacking in this moment and it's giving you anxiety. If you can stop, acknowledge, and then look for the grace and the gratitude in that moment. So if we can tap into and access that grace and gratitude when we are in a state of turmoil, that I think is a great practice to try and incorporate into your life for 2019. So this is not allowing yourself to stay in that constant fear and chaos and overstimulation and painfulness. Allow it to flow through you. Tap into and access the grace and the gratitude, and then move on. And I think I noticed that with the loss of my sugar. I still go through a brief moment every single day where I profoundly miss her. I could almost, sometimes even cry. Facebook and Time Hop, you get those memories that come up all of the time. So I see pictures of her. But it's that emptiness of her not being here. I acknowledge that I'm feeling this way. I acknowledge, you can hear my throat welling up. I acknowledge the pain that I have in my heart for her physical absence. And in that moment, I can feel her. So when we can acknowledge how we're feeling and then still our minds and tap into that grace and gratitude, it's almost as if that person or that pet is with us. And that's another thing that I'm noticing with this quickening energy that's coming in and that's going to take over for the next 5 to 10 years, is that we are going to start to become more at one with the other side. I've seen it. It started coming in probably around 2015, 2016-ish. I talk about the thinning of the veil. I've written extensively about the thinning of the veil. And that is when the world, or, that veil between our world and another dimension, wherever we go when we pass, becomes so thin that they can experience, they can come in and we can feel their energy more. But what I noticed last year, the veil never really went back all the way. And it continued to thin and continued to thin. I don't know if it's because of my personal abilities or that, maybe I'm tapping into that energy more and more often. But I think as a collective, we are also going to be able to do that more. We will have more telepathic experiences when we are tapping into that oneness energy, the us energy, the three energy. When we stop separating ourselves from everyone and looking at all the disparities between me and them and me and you, when we can see the oneness within each other, we become more telepathic and we're able to tap into each other so much more easily, which then also allows us to tap into the other side. People that are in a grief phase of loss, you will start to emerge from your grief. And you will have these moments where you feel that your loved one is right with you. When you can find that stillness and that calmness and come out of the grief briefly, you will find that your loved one is right next to you, holding your hand. But when we're in that grief, we can't feel it, we can't sense it, we can't see it, we can't hear it. So it's so super important for all of us to try and find that calmness and that stillness. Also, too, my guides are saying to me right now, when we're in that grief, when we're in that fear, it paralyzes us from our creativity. It paralyzes any new information coming in because we're dwelling in that old space, in that old energy. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. We do have to process our grief and our pain and our losses. But when we are constantly dwelling in fear and grief and pain and loneliness, we're blocking off any new opportunities coming in. So it's super important for you to get up, get moving, physically moving your body to break up that energy and find some quiet time, find some meditation time, and find the stillness. Now, my guides are also reminding me, I mentioned about grounding in the earth, grounding through earthing. But my guides are also saying that when we are overstimulated and we are in a state of chaos, water is also such a beautiful conduit for breaking up negative energy and negative aura. And it helps to cleanse us and wash away. Now, I always add salt to my bath. It could be Himalayan salt, Mediterranean sea salt, Epsom salt, if that's all I have. And I have even found kosher salt works as well, because sometimes that's all I have. I use that for cooking. I do have black lava salt, which is great for removing negative energies, but I will tell you, I have a 65, 70-year-old bathtub, which is extremely porous. It is white, and my bathtub turned black. And it has taken me close to a year to get all of that blackness out of my tub, because it is a very old bathtub. So I love black salt. Black salt would probably be best used to make boundaries at your doorways, your windows, or your property lines. This way you're not staining your bathtub. And also black salt stains your hands extremely heavily. And if you get it on your clothes, forget it. It's not coming out. But yeah, and you know, mugwort and sage and cedar wood, sandalwood, Palo Santo wood, burning candles, that's bringing in the earth to your home in the winter time when you can't get outside. It's also bringing in the warmth. So if you don't have a fireplace where you can, you know, burn some wood and bring that warmth and that fire, creative energy in, burn some candles, burn some sage, burn some mugwort, cedar wood, Palo Santo wood. It's also great for cleansing negative energies out of your space. All right, year-end address. I also wanted to talk about timelines. Also, how that incorporates into my readings, because my guides have spoken about this. And I know a lot of people have asked me recently about timelines, specifically a client that I did an extensive astrology chart and tarot reading for, because I saw all of these wonderful things in her chart, all these new possibilities coming up. And she wrote to me about a week or two ago and said, I really feel like I'm screwing up my timeline, my path that you told me that I was on, the things that were coming in front of me. She said, because I'm still so stuck in my chaos that I can't find my path yet. And I told her that's okay, because no matter how you get there, you're going to wind up in the place that you're meant to be. Consider your timeline, your personal timeline. It's not always linear. And picture it as a fork in the road. So if I tell you that you should be winding up here, if you took this way, you're going to get there maybe in 6 months or a year. But if you take this way, it might take 2 years to get there. Also, timelines are changing constantly. Cause and effect, things that we do will shift. Who comes into our lives to take us on that path? Who shows up? Who exits? You also have to take into consideration that if there's more than one player in your timeline, so say, for example, you're looking for a relationship, or you're in a relationship and you want it to go to the next level, there's always free will. And that other person, depending on what path you take, you may not run into that person in the next, month or 2 months. It may take 6 months. It may take a year, because maybe you're still working through things. Or if you're in a relationship, that other person also has free will and they can opt out. You know, they might take a different path. So just because I may see something in your chart and in your cards, most likely your chart, because that's kind of set, but in your cards, you have to consider the free will of all the people that are around you and how that could shift things. Now, if I see something in your card or your chart, and I know for a fact it's coming, especially because I've predicted lots of babies coming up for some people. It's hard to see the timeline because I may think, okay, you know what, within the next 2 years, this is going to happen. For some of you, it could happen right away, or it may take that full 2 years, or maybe it'll extend beyond to 2.5 or 3 years. The timelines are so flexible because we have to think about free will and the free will of everybody around us. So I hope I explained that a little bit for all of you, because I know sometimes people question, like that one client of mine, you know, she feels that she's not as far along as she should be, even though I've pointed out to her all these wonderful things that could be happening for her that I definitely see in her chart over the next few years. It's okay. You're going to wind up in those places. They just may take a little bit longer than you thought, but that's another great reason to incorporate that calmness and that stillness, the grace, the gratitude, the beauty that's around you, because when you do that, you open up your mind and your body to be receptive to creative energies and new ideas, and opening up your heart also allows all of that to flow in and allows you to meet new people. So we don't want to isolate ourselves. It's okay if you need brief moments of isolation, but all of us need to continue to get out there. You know, if you know me, you know I'm such a hermit, and I have been going out and about. I mean, like last night I went to a dinner party that I really just wanted to stay in and snug and do these readings. But I did go out, and I actually stayed out so many hours beyond what I normally would, because I made some great connections and good conversation. I had a good time. Okay, so if you also find yourself overstimulated in fear, chaos, write it down. Get it out of your body. Writing it down. Writing notes to people that you are having conflict with is extremely helpful. Even if you don't give them the notes, writing all your fears down, writing down all the chaos, writing down what's paining you, it helps to get that out of your system. So that is extremely helpful. Let's see what else. I think that may be it. One more note about chaos. If you're experiencing chaos, you're experiencing fears and pain outside of you, it's a great opportunity for you to go within and find out what's going on within yourself. If you can get quiet and you can get still, ask your body, what is happening? What is going on within me? Physical pains are our body's way of saying something's going on, whether it be, triggered from the outside. It usually indicates that something inside needs to be worked on. So that's all I have for you. Remember, this is my new card for the new year. It is New Beginnings. I will be posting that. And my January tarot scopes are a little bit late because it is the holiday season and I haven't had the time to record them, but I have everything all set up. So just stay tuned. And over the coming days, I will be posting your personalized tarot scopes for each sign for the month of January 2019. Oh, and before I forget, we have a new moon in Capricorn at 15 degrees on January 5th with a partial solar eclipse. So the energies are blasting us off right away into this new year. I hope you all stayed around to watch this whole video so that you see that. Hopefully I'll have time to blog about this and put a companion blog together for all of you. And if you are subscribers, just so you know, I post my videos on YouTube before I post them on any other platform. So if you're a subscriber, you may get the video days before everybody else. If you're just staying on Facebook waiting for me to say, hey, the video is up, or Instagram, or even sometimes my website at expressionsoftheuniverse.com, because I can't get to it all, but it goes right on YouTube right away. So subscribe. And if you liked this weekly wisdom and year-end address and beginning of year address, please share it with your friends. Show me some love. Comment me if any of this resonated with you. Let me know what you think 2019 is going to bring for you, what you're feeling. I love to hear the collective energy and the collective thoughts of everybody. It helps me know if I'm on target, if my guides told me the right information, the correct information. So please be sure to comment me. I will respond because I love the interaction. So until next year, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2019. Immense gratitude for all of you. Thank you for watching me all year. You know, I'm going into my 7th year of Expressions of the Universe. I know for a lot of you, I am brand new, and you may be just seeing me for the first time. I believe I've been on YouTube for 4 years now, but I've been blogging as Expressions of the Universe for 7 years now. And then, of course, Expressions of the Universe on Facebook, and then Twitter and Instagram and Google+. There's always great content out there. Oh, and also on Pinterest. I always forget. I do have an Expressions on Pinterest because I post a lot of different things there, especially crystals and different memes that I see that tickle me. So until next year, I love you. Bye. Thank you.